In today's quick and easy tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely little tray table. Now this piece has fixed legs, which makes it easier to build. Now as usual, you'll find the cut-in list in the description box below. So let's get started. So begin by cutting all of the pieces shown in the cut-in list. Now I'm going to be using a dark wood dye for my tray table, so I'm going to be applying that before construction. But first of all, we just need to shape these side pieces. Take those out and then everything else can be pushed to one side. Take one of the pieces and we're going to begin by making a pencil mark 3mm from what will become the bottom edge. So 3mm or 1/8 of an inch from the bottom long edge, like that. Gone a bit far in there, so just take it to the edge of the wood. And then the next pencil mark we're going to do along this top edge. So that was our bottom edge where we did the 3mm up from. So then turn it that way and do a pencil mark 7mm from the front there. And that is 9/32 of an inch. We're then going to draw a curve from our 7mm line to that 3mm line. So just simple curve like that. And then we're going to cut that piece out. And because it's such a small piece, we won't bother with the scribe. We're just going to use our craft knife. Be really careful of your fingers. Just do a light score to start, and then you should be able to cut through in a couple of goes. Make that 3. Make sure it's sort of cut away before you pull it away like I just tried to, like that. I'm going to take a piece of fine grade sandpaper, curl it around like that, so just curl the paper around and then sand that cut out. You want to keep that 3mm straight line at the front edge there, so try not to round that off at all. Sand the cut and then you can round off that top corner there. Just shape it a bit. Put it down and get rid of your pencil marks. Like that, and then do the same with the other piece. So these pieces are now ready for wood dye, and I've laid a piece of kitchen towel on my tray there which will sort of do the job of taking the excess wood dye off for me as they sort of dry. And I've given the tin a good shake. And I think these sort of trays look really nice in a dark wood finish, but you could of course paint them. Might be quite a nice sort of shabby chic project in a cream or a pastel colour. Maybe set it as a little breakfast tray with some nice flowers and things. And we will also be trimming the legs. We'll be cutting an angle at the top and bottom of each leg, but we'll do that after we've applied the wood dye. And then they'll glue a little bit more easily into place, because when I did my prototype for this project, that was the sort of tricky part, getting the legs to glue into place. So I'm just going to pop that on there like that and then just dab that off, so that will get the excess off on both sides like that, and then just pop that over there to dry. It's just that I like the dark oak, but it's very, very dark if you don't take off the excess. But you might like it really dark, so you don't have to dab it off if you don't want to. So that's one coat on each of those pieces. And when they're dry, we can construct our tray. My pieces are now dry, so we're ready to begin construction, and we're going to begin constructing the tray part. So apply glue along the front and back edges, so the long edges of the base. Touch the back, making sure you've got flush sides. And put that little front piece into place as well. A bit tricky because it's so thin. And then bring in your spare strip. And press those pieces firmly into place. Make sure it's all flat against your work surface. Really good firm press. The glue doesn't take as easily once you've applied the wood dye first. Like that. Then apply glue to the sides and do let it dry off a bit. Before steps. You know what I'm like, I like to sort of rush on, but if it does feel a little bit fragile still, then just let it dry off for half a minute or so. That's all it will need, and then you can carry on. Like that. Then bring in your sides, and obviously the little narrow end is at the front. Go like that. Again, make sure you've got flush edges along the front and back. I'll get the other one on as well, and then we can use those strips again. Can you hear the ducks out there? We've got our garden chairs out as well. It's been lovely again today, so we've been sitting out. And those chairs are quite old-fashioned, but we really love them because my nan used to sit on those, my grandmother, in her garden. So they must be about 30 years old, if not more than that. And then when she died and my mum and uncle were sort of clearing out the house, my mum said, would I like those? And I took them. So they're a bit old-fashioned, but we really love them. And they're getting to the stage now where you sit down and the fabric sort of creaks a bit. So I'm really worried that one day we're going to fall through. Get back to our tray. So again, push the sides into place there with your strips. Good firm press. Hold on to it while you get rid of your excess glue. That piece can then be pushed to one side and left to dry. And we're now ready to angle the leg pieces. So to help with that, I've made myself a paper template measuring 54 by 38 millimeters, which is 2 1/8 of an inch by 1.5 inches. So lay that on your work surface and then bring in one of the legs and line up that first corner with the corner of the template and the other corner. And I'm going to lay this on here and then hold the camera up and show you what I mean. So you're laying the corner of that one along the top corner there, and then this far corner along that bottom corner, and then what we're going to do is snip off at an angle. I'm going to have to put the camera down to do that so I can actually hold on to the strip like that, and then I'm going to come along it up again, and I'm going to come along the top of the template like that and into that corner of the strip. So I'm cutting it at a mitre angle, but I'm doing it this way. I'm doing the same at the bottom. So that corner of the wood, the top corner shall we say, is in this far corner of the template, and then cut across. And I'm doing it this way because the leg needs to be 54 millimeters high and as wide as the inside part of the tray. So this was the easiest way to do it. So do that with each of the legs. Let me show you from the top again. So we're going along the top of the paper and along the bottom there with your corners level with the corner of the paper. Okay, let's do that with the other 3 pieces as well. So bring in 2 of the legs, and we want to make a pencil mark on the narrow edge of the leg, and from the longest edge, so where your angle goes out like that, and we're going to come down on this side of the wood. So you might need to lay it down on your work surface because it's quite difficult to mark onto that narrow edge. So lay it alongside your rule, and then you should just be able to get your pencil nib onto the thin side of the piece of wood. And you want to make the mark 15mm, and that is 5/8 of an inch. So make a little mark like that, and then you can pick it up and just continue it onto that front narrow edge of the leg. Like that. You might need to go quite dark so you can actually see it against the wood die. So I've come down from the highest angle, 15mm on the narrow edge of the wood. So do that on all 4 pieces. So we're now going to attach a long and a short support between each set of legs, and they're the pieces cut from the 1.5mm sheet wood, so the 1/16 of an inch sheet wood. So apply glue to each end of your first support. Like that, and you might just need to hold on to it, and then place that, if your pencil mark is sort of 15mm from the top, place it just below the pencil mark there, and press it into place, holding the pieces upright or onto the side. And this is a little bit fiddly, and bring in the other one like that. So once you're in the right place, you can sort of press it gently together. And what I'm going to do, if I can let go of it without pulling it apart, is bring those strips in again, and then you can just very carefully push them to either side, but just sort of put in the pressure where that strip's going across. You don't want to push the legs in at the other end. So give it a good but gentle press. And if your legs look like one's higher than the other, it doesn't really matter too much. Try and straighten them up, but we will be straightening them when we attach them to the bottom of the tray. And then do the same with the other one. On the other set, rather. That was a little bit easier that time. As I said that, I thought it was all going to ping apart. Okay, so again, give it a press. And I want to just push these out of the way so I can bring the tray back in. So just really carefully like that. They can be left to dry. Turn the tray over, and then at each end we're going to make a pencil mark in the centre and 5mm from the side. So begin with your central pencil mark. Same at the other end. Turn it round actually, so that the ruler doesn't rock off the end. About there, like that. And then along that pencil mark we're going to come in by 5mm or 13/64 of an inch, and then do a line going across that way like that. Same at the other end. So we're going to glue a short and a long strip at each of those points, so in front of that 5mm line, and so that the centre lines up with that central pencil mark. So just begin by doing a little pencil mark in the centre of each of those strips. Just bring in my smaller rule. Same on the smaller one. Put a bit of glue on. And then glue that into place, lining up those central pencil marks. And sitting across that 5mm line. Carefully press it down. And the same at the other end with the shorter one. Again, getting those central marks lined up. Get rid of your excess glue. Just need to push that one up a little bit. So the legs should now be ready. So apply a little bit of glue first of all to each end, so the support is at the bottom. So we're applying it to the top end. And then just dot a little bit onto each end of the strip. And then glue it so the angled pieces are sitting flat against the bottom of the tray, and so that you're pressing them against the sides of the support. And it's quite difficult getting the angle bits sort of flat on the tray and getting it at the side there, but just take your time, try and be gentle with them, and then press them in like that, and then bring in the narrower legs, and these are sort of going to poke through. So do the same thing again. Oops. Just press them in then, but I'm going to just hold on to them. Bit there like that. Bit on each end of the strip. This is where it gets quite fiddly. And then again, push them through. And you want to get it, you've got to hold on to that first set, and you want to get them again so that your angled bits are flat against the bottom of the tray. And it's all going to be moving about, but just be really careful with it. And you can sort of carefully pull the legs up so that the angles are flat. And again, give them a press. And what I actually might do is just bring those strips in again. My good old strips. And press them against each side. Actually, you probably have to do it one at a time. That wasn't such a brilliant idea. But sort of press the longer legs into place first. And then move the strips along. And do the shorter ones. And then what we want to do is actually stand the tray up and make sure that the legs are straight, or that the tray is sitting straight. So sit it on a level surface and get down actually level with the tray at eye level, and check that it is actually straight. If you need to straighten it up, then just very, very gently push down whatever side needs to be pushed down. And then what you can do is just bring in your rule and measure from the ground to the top of the side, and then the same at the other side. That's just about right, I think. And that was lucky, because chances are that you will need to sort of very gently straighten it up. But I'm really pleased with that. And you can give that another coat if you want to. I'm going to leave it like that because I don't want it to be too dark. And there is the completed table. I really hope you've enjoyed today's quick and easy tutorial, and that this is something you'll have a go at. If you do, please share your photos in my Facebook group, Little Bits and Pieces by You, and I look forward to seeing how you finish your piece and how you display it as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.